The shocking reality of young serial killers. History is rife with terrifying stories of serial killers, but what's even more disturbing is when those killers are children. These young offenders defy the conventional image of childhood innocence, engaging in heinous crimes that leave an indelible mark on society. The phenomenon of young serial killers raises deeply unsettling questions about human nature, mental health, and the factors that can lead even children to commit unspeakable acts of violence. As these stories unfold, we are left to grapple with the psychological, societal, and legal implications of their actions. This exploration delves into the disturbing lives of some of the world's youngest serial killers, examining their dark journeys and what may have driven them to commit such terrifying crimes. Amarjit Sada, the world's youngest serial killer. Amarjit Sada, an 8-year-old boy from India, earned the grim title of the world's youngest serial killer. His disturbing journey began with small acts of aggression, pinching and slapping his baby sister, but quickly escalated to something far more sinister. By the time he was apprehended, Amarjit had allegedly taken the lives of 3 family members, including his 8-month-old sibling and a cousin. His young age shielded him from prison, and instead he was placed in a children's home, leaving the public to question how such violent tendencies could manifest in someone so young. Amarjit's story is not just a tale of tragedy. It also shines a light on the limits of the juvenile justice system and raises broader concerns about childhood development and violence. The Beaver brothers. Fratricide and familial violence. In another chilling case, Robert and Michael Beaver shocked the world with their calculated attack on their own family. The brothers, hailing from Oklahoma, meticulously planned and carried out the murder of their parents and several siblings. The crime, which was motivated by a twisted desire to gain fame as serial killers, left the nation stunned. The Beaver brothers' ability to carry out such a brutal act within their own home raises critical questions about the role of family dynamics, mental health, and the dark side of sibling relationships. Charged as adults, they were sentenced to life in prison, but their case continues to be a haunting reminder of the potential for violence that can exist even within the family unit. Michael Hernandez. A life obsessed with serial crime. Michael Hernandez's journey into darkness began with an obsession that many found eerily familiar: an interest in serial killers. At just 14, Hernandez carried out a gruesome murder in the bathroom of his middle school, killing a close friend with chilling precision. His fascination with violence wasn't just limited to thoughts. He kept journals detailing his plans and violent fantasies. During his trial, Hernandez's lack of remorse and morbid curiosity about criminal infamy shocked the courtroom. Ultimately, he was sentenced to life in prison without parole, sparking a debate about how to handle young criminals who seem to be beyond rehabilitation. His case brought into sharp focus the issue of juvenile justice and how society should deal with young offenders who commit such horrific crimes. Brenda Spencer. The chilling case of I Don't Like Mondays. Brenda Spencer's name became synonymous with school shootings after her infamous rampage at Grover Cleveland Elementary School in San Diego. At just 16, Spencer armed herself with a rifle and opened fire, killing 2 adults and injuring several children. When asked why she did it, her chilling reply was simply, "I don't like Mondays." The coldness of her response, coupled with her lack of remorse, puzzled many and raised concerns about the mental state of young offenders. Spencer's case was one of the first widely publicized school shootings and remains a haunting example of how mental health, isolation, and external influences can converge to produce devastating violence. James Fairweather, a teenager's murder spree. James. Fairweather's brief but brutal killing spree shocked the UK when he was arrested at the age of 17. Convicted of 2 murders, Fairweather's actions were fueled by violent video games and a deep fascination with serial killers. His lack of empathy, even boasting about his crimes to a friend, made him a particularly chilling figure. The gruesome nature of his murders and the cold calculation with which he carried them out led to his sentencing of 27 years in prison. Fairweather's case underscores the complex psychological factors that can drive teenagers to commit acts of extreme violence, sparking a broader conversation about the influence of media and the mental health needs of adolescents. Alisa Bustamante, the teenage murderer who shocked a nation. At just 15, Alisa Bustamante committed a murder so brutal that it captured the attention of the entire nation. She lured her 9-year-old neighbor into the woods, where she brutally killed her, later confessing that she wanted to know what it felt like to take a life. Bustamante's case stunned the public, as her seemingly emotionless confession revealed a deeply disturbed mind. Her trial sparked a nationwide debate on the appropriate punishment for juvenile offenders, particularly those who commit such heinous crimes. Sentenced to life in prison, Bustamante's story continues to be a cautionary tale about the potential for darkness in even the youngest of offenders and the challenges of dealing with juveniles in the criminal justice system. T.J. Lane and the tragic school shooting. Another young killer, T.J. Lane, carried out a deadly attack at Chardon High School in Ohio. Armed with a handgun, Lane opened fire in the school cafeteria, killing 3 students and wounding others. What shocked the nation even more was Lane's cold demeanor during his trial, where he wore a shirt emblazoned with the word "killer" and showed no remorse for his actions. His case reignited debates about school safety and the warning signs of violent behavior in young people. Sentenced to life without parole, Lane's crime remains a dark chapter in the history of school violence, reminding us of the devastating impact such acts have on communities and families. Craig Price, America's youngest serial killer. Craig Price became one of the youngest serial killers in American history when he embarked on a murder spree at just 15 years old. Price had long shown signs of violent tendencies, including cruelty to animals and aggressive behavior, but nothing prepared his community for the brutal murders he committed. Price killed 4 people in total, including a mother and her 2 daughters, and his lack of remorse or desire for rehabilitation made him a particularly controversial figure. Price's case forced lawmakers to reconsider how juvenile offenders are treated in the legal system, sparking debates about whether such young killers can ever be rehabilitated or whether they pose a lifelong threat to society. The complex reality of young serial killers. The stories of these young killers paint a chilling portrait of the capacity for violence that can exist even in the most innocent-looking individuals. Amarjit Sada, the Beaver brothers, Brenda Spencer, and others serve as haunting reminders that childhood is not always a time of innocence. Their disturbing journeys force us to confront uncomfortable questions about mental health, childhood trauma, societal influences, and how we approach the issue of juvenile crime. As we grapple with these cases, one thing remains clear: the complexities of youth, violence, and justice require a nuanced and thoughtful approach to ensure both public safety and the potential for rehabilitation.